Hello, this is Mandy with Scott Leroy Marketing. I'd like to show you how you can import your contacts into Command using the Command import template. We do have a separate tip video that shows you how you can use a custom file, one that you've created yourself without using the template. So you can check out that tip video. Just want to give you a heads up. It looks a little easier on the front end, but there's a bigger margin of error that can happen, and it's a little labor intensive once you start importing. So just proceed with caution if you do choose to use a custom file. This particular video that you're watching now will show you how to actually use the command issued template. And that way, while there's a little bit more formatting on the front end, it's way easier to import and reduces the risk of error. So you can see we're signed into command here. Let me show you where to first get that template. Over here on the left-hand side, we've clicked on the Contacts tab and then choose the Import Contacts button in the top right. From there, you can choose Download Template, and this is the template that is the Command Import template that I'll be showing you how to format today. I already have it opened here on my device, and I do want to show you some things to pay attention to as you format your contacts. First thing right off the bat, notice there are two rows of column headers. These need to stay exactly like they are. No adding columns, no deleting columns, and no changing the name in the columns. Okay. The good news is you do not have to have a piece of information for every single column, for every single contact. The only piece of information you really need is a first name. Every contact is required to have a first name. So just make sure in column A that you have a first name listed here. And if you're unsure of what the person's first name is, for us at SLM, we just add the name neighbor. And that way, if you ever do any marketing through command, it will still go out to like dear neighbor or hello neighbor and be friendly. So let's go through some of the columns and a little bit of the formatting that you want to pay attention to. Right here, you have two date columns, the birthday and home anniversary. The good news is that pretty much any formatting will work, whether you use forward slashes, a military date, periods, hyphens. Essentially, any date will work. Any date format will work in these particular columns. For phone numbers, there's multiple fields to enter multiple phone numbers. You can see here cell phone, home phone, work phone, and other phone. But you definitely want to pay attention to the column that is to the right of each of those columns. It's asking you if this piece of information to the left is the primary piece of information. So is this the primary phone number for this contact? The primary means that it will be the one used for marketing in command. If this is the main one, you'll want to make sure you add a capital Y to the right of the primary information. You can only have one phone number per row or per contact marked as primary. Only one can be primary. So see this other row right here? We have two Ys. That's just to show you do not do it that way. You need to erase one of those Ys so that only one phone number is marked as primary. Even if you have only one phone number for that contact, you still need to make sure that you have that capital Y to mark it as primary. As we slide to the right, you'll notice the same fields for email addresses. There's multiple fields to add multiple email addresses for a contact, and there's still these columns right here asking which one is primary. So even if you have only one email address for that contact, you still need to make sure that you've used a capital Y to the right of the email address that you want to be marked as primary. As we slide to the right, you'll see fields for primary addresses. There is some required information here. Every primary address that you enter will need to have at least some data in address like line 1, like 123 Main Street. The other fields, like address line 2, that's optional, but you'll want to make sure to enter a city, state and zip code. Country is optional, but label is required. You will want to pick one of these available labels in the header to label this address. Again, it has to be one of the options listed in the header. So for here, we'll just choose work. And it wants to know if this is the mailing address. If you enter a physical address for a contact, make sure that one of them and only one is marked as mailing with that capital Y. Over to the right, you'll see two more sets of fields here to add two more addresses for contacts. So you can add multiple, but just make sure again that if you enter an address, you definitely have that label included and mark it as mailing if it is so. Only one physical address can be marked as mailing. Over here at the end of the spreadsheet, we have the tag column. This is how to label and organize your contacts. And while, yes, you can add tags and remove tags after the contacts are imported, during the import process, it's always a good idea to have one common tag that's applied to all of the contacts on your spreadsheet so that, God forbid, if anything happens to these contacts during the import and maybe they're wrong, you can easily track down all the contacts that were on this spreadsheet so that you can fix them faster and you don't have to individually hunt and peck for them. So we at SLM usually use the tag import and then the day's date of the import as a common tag to apply to all the contacts on a spreadsheet. That way, again, they have a common tag. Now you can go ahead and include other tags as well while you're doing this. Again, you can add and remove them later, but if you'd like to add some, just make sure to separate each tag with a comma and a space. And again, you don't have to, but if you want to, you can go ahead and include those tags during the import process. For the rest of the fields on the spreadsheet, pretty self-explanatory. You'll enter one source here and any notes that you have for the contacts there as well. And if you have the social media platform links, you can also include those. And then your command import template is now formatted and you can go ahead and import it. So I'm just going to pull it off screen here and save it. And I'll show you how to get this imported into command. So, and again, just touching on the fact that this was more labor intensive, like we mentioned up front, more formatting that you need to do for this template versus what you would normally do on a custom file. However, let me show you how easy it is once you actually get it imported. This brings us back to our command screen here. We were on the command tab, contacts tab. We clicked the import contacts button, and now we can either drop the file or browse our device to import it. So I'm just going to drag it over and click continue. This goes ahead and maps the information. It maps the column headers to the actual fields within the contact profiles and command. And you can click through some of your contacts here to see if the information is showing as correct for those fields. And then click finalize import. That's where the quick part comes in. For a custom file, this is the part that takes a long time because you have to manually map. Using the template, it went ahead and did it for us. Now it's actually saying that we have a column header. So give me just a second here. We're going to start again. I'm going to open my file. Typically that means that one of the column headers may have been adjusted and edited. So I'm just going to pull this back on the screen so you can see what I'm going to do, just in case you ever get this error. I'm going to take a clean import. We're going to copy those headers and just paste them right over our headers on our spreadsheet, just to make sure they're exactly the way they should do or should be. We'll go ahead and save him again. And something about command. You do need to make sure that the file has a different name than any other file that you've imported into command. It only wants a file with that one name one time. So we adjusted the name a little bit with an A at the end. Let's see if this will go through. We'll click continue. It automatically maps, saving us time and reducing the risk of error. And we're going to click finalize import. Great. This is what we want to see. So now we can return to contacts. We'll have this blue banner while it works, but it's usually instantaneous, guys. Go ahead and click refresh. That banner should go away and come right up here to your notifications. And you can see that our contact import is complete. Now, I made this fail because I wanted to show you this. But if you ever come here, it should say that your import was successful or it failed. In this case, where it failed, some of them may still have imported. It may have been partially successful, but some of the contacts may have failed to import. It doesn't mean your entire file imported, or excuse me, it doesn't mean your entire file failed. But you can come right here and click download log and open up that file, and it will show you the specific reason why each contact failed to import. We'll make it a little bit bigger here so you can see it. You would just want to slide all the way to the right. And the reason for each contact that failed will be listed over here in one of the error columns here at the end of the file. In this particular case, the phone number was invalid. They're fake phone numbers, so it catches that and failed to import those contacts. But this will also allow you to go in, make any changes that you need to, any updates on that original command template file, not necessarily the failed log, but you can make the changes on the import file that you were working with originally and try to re-import if you would like. If you need any help with this at all, if you run into any snags, you have any questions, or if you want us here at Scott Leroy Marketing to actually handle the import for you, we'll be happy to help. You can just shoot us an email, and the email address is support@scottleroymarketing.com, and we'll be happy to help. Thanks for watching.